Once upon a time, in a beautiful land called Loria, there was a kingdom ruled by King Regan and Queen Selene. This land was full of rolling green hills, tall trees, and sparkling rivers. The kingdom looked peaceful and perfect, but there was something missing. King Regan and Queen Selene didn't have a child of their own. They had everything anyone could wish for, but they felt empty because they didn't have a child to share their love. Every night, the king and queen would look up at the stars and pray for a baby to love. They longed for a child to fill the emptiness in their hearts. One warm afternoon, Queen Selene was walking alone in the royal garden. The flowers were in full bloom, and the sweet scent of roses filled the air. As she strolled through the garden, a strange bird appeared. It was unlike any bird she had ever seen before. Its feathers sparkled in the sunlight, shimmering in every color of the rainbow. The bird flew down and landed on a nearby branch. The bird spoke to her in a soft, gentle voice. "Your wish will be granted, Queen Selene," it said, "but your daughter will be a mystery, and the future of your kingdom will rest in her hands." The queen was surprised and confused. The bird flew away before she could ask more questions. Selene stood there for a long time, thinking about the bird's words. She didn't understand what it meant, but she felt something important had just happened. Months passed, and one day, Queen Selene gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. The king and queen were overjoyed. Their hearts were filled with happiness and love as they gazed at their newborn daughter, whom they named Amara. They decided to celebrate the birth with a grand festival, inviting people from every corner of the kingdom. Not only did they invite everyone in Loria, but they also invited the most famous women from distant lands. These women were known for their beauty, charm, grace, and special talents. They all came to offer their blessings to the princess. The kingdom's castle was decorated with colorful banners, and the air was full of music and laughter. People danced and sang in celebration. But there was one woman who did not attend. Her name was Vivienne. She had traveled far to see the princess, but the king had made a mistake and forgot to invite her. When Vivienne arrived at the castle, she was very upset. She was angry that she had been left out of such an important event. Vivienne waited until the end of the day, when the queen was busy greeting guests. She stepped forward and quietly whispered a curse. "On your daughter's 16th birthday, a great disaster will fall upon her." She walked away quickly, leaving the queen feeling a strange chill. No one knew about the curse, but a shadow seemed to fall over the celebration that night. The festival continued, and the women who had been invited began to give their gifts to Princess Amara. Each gift was special and filled with meaning. Leandra, a famous dancer, gave Amara the gift of grace. She blessed the princess with elegance and poise, so that she would always move with beauty and charm. Leandra's dancing was soft and flowing, and Amara learned to dance with the same delicate movements. Astrid, a famous singer, gave Amara the gift of song. She promised that Amara's voice would be sweet and beautiful, and that she would bring joy to all who heard her sing. When Amara grew older, her singing could be heard all across the kingdom, filling everyone's hearts with warmth. Zara, a wise woman, gave Amara the gift of knowledge. She gave the princess the ability to learn quickly and think deeply. Amara would be able to understand the world around her, making her wise and thoughtful beyond her years. Serafina, a skilled artist, gave Amara the gift of creativity. She promised that Amara would have the ability to see beauty in everything and create wonders wherever she went. With a simple pencil, Amara could bring her imagination to life in beautiful paintings. The royal family was filled with happiness as they received each gift, but Vivienne's curse still hung over them, unspoken but felt. Just as the last of the women was preparing to leave, Vivienne arrived. Her eyes were cold, and her voice was filled with anger. "I demand to speak to the royal family," Vivienne said. The king and queen greeted her, but they knew nothing of her anger. They invited her into the castle, but Vivienne could not hold back her bitterness. "On your daughter's 16th birthday, a great calamity will take her away," she said again, her words sharp like a knife. The room fell silent. Everyone looked at each other, uncertain of what to do. The king and queen were deeply troubled by Vivienne's words. What did they mean? They tried to ignore the curse and focus on their daughter's happiness, but the fear in their hearts grew each day. They asked the wisest people in the kingdom to help them understand the curse, but no one could explain it. As the years passed, Princess Amara grew up to be a kind and beautiful young woman. Her laughter filled the halls of the castle, and her smile brightened everyone's day. She became known throughout the kingdom for her kindness, her beauty, and her gentle spirit. People loved her deeply, and the kingdom flourished under the care of the royal family. But as Amara's 16th birthday approached, there was a feeling of unease. Rumors of the curse spread through the land, and the people began to whisper, "The princess must be careful. Vivienne's curse will come true." Amara tried to ignore the whispers, but deep down, she felt a sense of dread growing. She had heard about the curse from her parents and knew it was coming. But what could she do? She didn't want to believe that something bad would happen to her. The days passed, and the kingdom prepared for the grand celebration of Amara's 16th birthday. But the shadow of Vivienne's curse loomed over the festivities, and no one knew what would happen when the clock struck midnight. Amara could not shake the feeling of dread that grew inside her as her 16th birthday approached. She knew something was coming, but she didn't know what. Her parents were trying to protect her, but deep down, she realized that only she could face what was ahead. One afternoon, as she sat in the royal garden, lost in her thoughts, her closest friend, Roland, approached. Roland was a brave young knight who had been her companion for many years. He was strong, loyal, and kind, and he had always been there for her. "I know you're worried about the curse," Roland said gently, sitting beside her. "But I believe there's a way to stop it. We just need to find the heart of the mountain." Amara turned to him, curious. "What is the heart of the mountain?" she asked. "It's an ancient artifact, said to hold the power to break any curse. It's hidden deep in the mountains, and no one knows exactly where it is. But I believe it holds the key to breaking Vivian's curse," Roland explained. Amara felt a spark of hope. If there was a way to stop the curse, she had to try. She didn't want to let it take her life away, especially not when she had so much to live for. Roland was right. She needed to find the heart of the mountain. "I'll go with you," Amara said, her voice filled with determination. "We'll find it together." The two friends made preparations for their journey, packing supplies and saying goodbye to the royal family. King Regan and Queen Selene were hesitant to let Amara go, but they knew she was strong and brave. They trusted her, and they trusted Roland. And so, Amara and Roland set off on their journey, leaving the safety of the castle behind. Their path was filled with challenges, but they were not alone. Along the way, they met many people who helped them. Some gave them food, others offered advice, and some simply shared kind words. Amara's kindness and charm shone through, and people were drawn to her warmth and beauty. As the days passed, they encountered strange creatures and faced difficult obstacles. But Amara's heart remained strong, and Roland was always there to protect her. Together, they grew closer, their bond of friendship turning into something deeper. But neither of them spoke of it. They both knew that their mission was more important than anything else. After many days of travel, Amara and Roland finally reached the base of the mountains. The climb was steep and tiring, but they pushed on, determined to find the heart of the mountain. The air grew colder as they ascended higher, and the rocks became slippery. Still, they kept going, knowing they were getting closer. On the 7th day of their journey, they came upon a hidden valley, surrounded by towering cliffs. In the center of the valley stood an ancient temple. The stone walls were covered in vines, and the entrance was shrouded in mist. It was a place of mystery, and Amara could feel a strange pull toward it. "This is it," Roland said, looking at the temple with awe. "The heart of the mountain is inside." They approached the temple carefully, taking each step slowly. As they entered the temple, they were greeted by the sound of echoing footsteps. The walls inside were lined with carvings of gods and heroes, their faces etched into the stone. The air felt heavy, as if the temple had been untouched for centuries. In the center of the room, there was a statue of a beautiful goddess. Her eyes seemed to follow them as they moved closer. In her hands, she held a glowing orb, and it seemed to call to Amara. Amara reached out and touched the orb. The moment her fingers made contact, the air grew still, and the goddess's voice filled their minds. "Only true love can break the curse," the voice said softly, "but at a price." Amara and Roland looked at each other, unsure of what the goddess meant. The words echoed in Amara's mind, but she couldn't understand them completely. What did true love have to do with the curse? And what price would they have to pay? "We have to keep going," Roland said, his voice full of determination. "We'll find the answer." Amara nodded, but a sense of unease settled in her heart. She didn't know what the goddess meant, but she knew they had to keep moving forward. Finally, the day of Amara's 16th birthday arrived. The castle was filled with excitement as preparations were made for the grand celebration. The royal family had planned a feast with music, dancing, and games. Everyone in the kingdom was invited to join in the festivities. But despite the joyful atmosphere, Amara could not shake the feeling that something was wrong. She woke up that morning with a heavy heart, the memory of the goddess's words echoing in her mind. True love, a price. Her parents wished her a happy birthday, but their smiles seemed forced. They, too, could feel the weight of Vivian's curse hanging over them. That evening, the grand hall was filled with guests, and the air was thick with laughter and music. But as the night went on, Amara's unease grew. Something was about to happen. The clock struck midnight. Suddenly, the room grew cold, and the candles flickered. The sky outside darkened, and a storm began to brew. Lightning flashed, and the ground shook. Everyone in the hall looked around in fear. But Amara knew that the curse was coming true. And then she saw her. Vivienne stood at the doorway, her eyes burning with anger. "I warned you," Vivienne said, her voice cold and bitter. "This is the price you will pay. The curse cannot be stopped." Amara's heart raced. she turned to Roland, who stood beside her, ready to face whatever came next. Vivian stepped forward, her eyes fixed on Amara. "The curse can only be broken by the heart of the one who loves you most," she said. "But be warned, true love comes with a price." Amara's eyes widened. Roland loved her? The truth hit her like a wave. Roland had always been by her side, always cared for her, but she had never truly understood the depth of his feelings. "Roland," she whispered. The room was silent, the storm outside raging. Vivian's curse had begun to take shape, but there was still a chance to break it. Roland stepped forward, his gaze never leaving Amara's. "Amara," Roland said softly, his voice filled with emotion. "I love you. I've always loved you." Amara felt her heart beat faster. She knew that Roland loved her, but the weight of his love, the depth of his feelings, made her heart ache. She had always seen him as a dear friend, someone who cared for her, but she never realized how much he truly meant to her. Vivian's voice broke through her thoughts. "To break the curse, one of you must make a sacrifice. Roland must choose. Save Amara and live without her, or let her fall to the curse." Amara's heart sank. "No, Roland, don't." But Roland stopped her with a gentle touch. "I will save you, Amara," he said. "I would never let anything happen to you." Amara felt tears welling up in her eyes as she realized the choice Roland was making. He was willing to sacrifice everything for her. Roland leaned down and kissed her. The moment their lips touched, a bright light filled the room. The storm outside vanished, the lightning stopped, and the air became warm again. Vivian screamed in anger, but the curse was broken. Amara and Roland stood together, their hearts intertwined, and the kingdom was saved. The storm was gone, and the world outside was calm once again. The curse was lifted, and peace returned to the kingdom. The people cheered, and the royal family rejoiced. Amara and Roland were safe, but the price of true love had been paid. Roland's sacrifice had broken the curse, but it had also changed him. He had chosen to give up his own happiness for Amara's safety. Amara knew that the choice Roland had made was the truest form of love, and she would never forget it. She would spend the rest of her life making sure he knew how much he meant to her. With the curse broken and peace restored, Amara and Roland returned to the castle as heroes. The king and queen welcomed Roland into their family, and the people of the kingdom celebrated the return of their beloved princess. Amara and Roland ruled the kingdom together, their love growing stronger with each passing day. The kingdom flourished, and peace reigned in Loria for many years to come. And thus, the legend of Princess Amara and her true love, Roland, lived on for generations, their love story told for centuries as an example of sacrifice, loyalty, and the power of true love.